Hey guys, this is a video. I'm just going over some of the plastics and one hard bait that I use. So let's get started. One is the Zoom Fluke, Super Fluke. How I work them is I just cast them out and then let them sink. And I'll use them in deep water, probably like 10 feet, but when I do that, I use a little bullet weight and in shallow water. But the best times that I have my luck of catching bass with them, I usually use them around overcast when there's like little to no wind, and I can really get a good cast. And then I'll use them in probably like 3 feet of water most of the time. And then the bass will just take them as they're sinking. And you have to watch your line, because if you have too much slack and they start taking it and not paying attention, they'll swim away with it and swallow it. So you have to be careful with that too. I usually use about a 4-aught hook with them. And I use them in this albino color. They seem to like that. It's white pearl. And you can get these at Walmart, Dick's, almost anywhere that they sell fishing supplies. But like, I think like in Sports Authority, Bass Pro Shops, I'm pretty sure they sell it. And my next one is the Culprit June Bug 7.5 inch worm. I like this. I use it in murky water, just with the, I think 1/4 ounce bullet weight, and I'll just twitch it off the bottom. But I don't peg the bullet weight unless I'm fishing in cover, like logs and things like that. When you peg the bullet weight follows the worm. The worm follows the bullet weight without the, like, if you go over a log, the bullet weight won't slide down your line and the worm's on the other side. So when you go to twitch it over, the hook gets stuck. But instead, the worm follows the bullet weight over the log. And then I get those in June Bug. They have like a variety of colors, but I like the June Bug the most because I can fish it in murky water, clear water, things like that. And then my next one is the Old Monster watermelon seed. They're by Zoom, and they're 10-inch worms, and they're kind of thin. I'll show you. It's a 10-inch worm, and I like to use these. I caught a 9-pound 8-ounce bass on these. I also catch bass that are smaller than the worm, which surprised me when I first started fishing them. And I'll just leave this here. Take out the other worms. And then when you're using the culprit worms, either, if you don't really care, I like to leave them in the bag, because the way culprit scents them, it kind of stinks. Well, it doesn't stink, but like, I just wouldn't want that smell to stay there. Well, if I want to change out like all my lures, I don't want that smell to stay there. And I like to use Zoom trick worms. I've gotten 6 to 5 pound bass on these, and little bass. They seem to like them too. I use a 5-aught on the Old Monster, the 10-inch worm, a 4-aught on the Culprit worm, the 7.5 inch, the 5-inch Zoom Fluke, Super Fluke. I use a 4-aught, and I use a 4-aught on trick worms. and I'll bullet weight this, sometimes this with the small one, and this one, the old monster, the 10-inch one, I won't bullet weight that at all because the weight to it, and I can cast far too. And that's how I caught my 9-pounder. I didn't bullet weight it at all, and I like the way it goes through the water. To me, it kind of looks like a snake, but it's a worm though. And the tail has a lot of action to it, like the action of the tail. And then the Booyah spinnerbait. I've caught my biggest bass on that. I've caught a 9-pound, 11-ounce bass on the Booyah spinnerbait. And this one is yellow with the red eye. Alright. And also, I like the Rapala X-Rap Hopper. It's a nice popper. And I like Rapala's hooks. They don't bend. I've gotten plenty of bass on that too. And KVD Strike King, no, KVD 0.5, I think, crankbait. It has no rattles to it. This is spotted shad, I think they're called. I forget. This goes to 3 to 5 feet of water, but I don't like their hooks at all. I've caught 3-pound bass on their hooks, and they just bend them out. They don't bend them straight out, but they bend a lot to where you can notice, even if you're not trying to look for any bends. So I changed out the hooks and put different ones from rattle traps, like expensive rattle traps, because they have nice hooks. I forget the company, and I switched the hooks out because one time, I think it was probably around 8 pounds, and he just grabbed one barb of the KVD hook, and he bent it all the way out. I was like, that was crazy. But with these, they don't bend, so he could grab one barb, and it's not gonna bend on me. That's how I lost them. And yeah, and then I like this one, this spinnerbait, because this was originally golden, the spinner, but once you use it a lot, the golden starts to wear off, and especially when you catch a lot of bass on it. And one of the main reasons I like this, because it has a big hook on it, and the eyelet where you tie the line on it is wrapped, instead of like this spinnerbait, how it's not wrapped. So when you tie your line on there, it can slide up and down, but on here it's a circle, and they both swim pretty well through the water. I like to use them early in the morning and at night. I've gotten bass on this at night, even though it has no rattles, but not a lot, because they have to see it. Really, it gives off a little bit of vibration, but not a lot. I like to use this just by letting it sink, not letting it hit the bottom, and then just jerking it so it shoots up and sinks back down. And then bass think it's a dying bait fish. And these, I just like to twitch it, because its tail floats and it twitches the tail. I've had 5-pounders take this while it's sinking with the bullet weight on it. They'll just come up to it and grab it, And these, I do the same thing. I just twitch these, or sometimes I do long pulls, so this tail can actually vibrate. And same thing with these. I'll just twitch them or just swim them slowly, because the tail gives off a lot of action swimming slow. So I like it. And I've actually found this one. It's a Rapala in the water, and I haven't had any luck on it. And so I don't really use it. It's a baby bass, so I don't use it anymore. It sits there until spawning season, I guess, when the bass are really around. Doesn't have any rattles either. But this Rapala one, Popper X-Rap, it has rattles in it. So I like it. And this one, you gotta be careful if you're fishing from shore or even your boat. Bass will come up and just grab that real fast. So you have to be ready. You have to have a strong line or they'll break it. And also, one more thing. I like to use the KVD Sexy Frog. I love this frog. I've caught 5-pounders, 3-pounders, and missed very big bass on it. Like, they just come up and grab it out of the lily pads, and they'll miss. Or if they do get it, I pull out of their mouth, and then they won't hit it again. And then the pond that I fish at that has the lily pads, is getting cold, so they started blooming, I guess, because they're gone. Well, they're not blooming, they're just gone. And then, so I don't really fish it anymore. But I'll fish this in shallow water, and depending on the temperature, in deep water, probably like 15 feet. But that's only for like certain temperatures, because if it's too hot, they'll be toward the bottom and won't come up for it. And if it's cold, if it's too cold, they won't want to chase it down, or even when it pauses, because they don't really feel like messing with anything.